but I'm gonna put that off like any responsible adult would do. Brain, seriously. I love how these turned out. I just think that they are so adorable. Isn't that adorable? Oh, it's really cute. G'day and welcome to the second part of making Donald Duck by Sunset Dragon. You'll be able to see just in the background over here, we have got what I've currently got of her so far, and we are essentially picking up exactly where the first part left off. So if you haven't seen that, do check that out now. So what I'm going to be working on first and foremost is getting this collar done. It is the most iconic part of this design in my opinion, and I have been putting it off. So I have got the collar over here that was dyed in the previous one. It's still crinkled and it's annoying me, so I have got the steamer out. I will be giving that a steam and hopefully that will relax it. I'll hit it again with the iron. I really hope that I can get those wrinkles out, especially for the top level. Worst comes to worst, what I might need to do is even wet the top layer again at the very least, and then give it a iron whilst it's wet to get the crinkles out. But I don't like doing that because it's scary. But I'm going to put that off like any responsible adult would do, and I'm going to work on the rings. So Donald Duck has got 3 different buoys. There's 1 on the chest and 2 on the ends of the tails. And I 3D modeled these. Yes, I did. It took me 2 days, and in Tinkercad, which is a very user-friendly beginner program, because I am a beginner when it comes to 3D modeling, it's something I want to get better at, I did my rings. And here they are. So here is the chest piece, and here is the rings for the tails. They're too small. They're too small, and they did not work out. Like, look at this. There is so many edges to this. This is the one problem with Tinkercad. When you do a circle in Tinkercad, you cannot get a smooth circle because it goes by faces. And so you can import into there like a donut that is smooth, but when you're actually building within Tinkercad, you can't. And you know, this is about the size that the like end pieces were meant to be. So at least that was a good measurement. I was very disappointed when this got printed out, and Troy from Play by Proxy, who printed these out for me, he was like, there you go, and I was like, yay, they're terrible. And I was so proud of them because it took me, you know, 2 days to figure this out. Well, not 2 full days, but like working on them over 2 days, you know, for a couple of hours, because you know, this is all new to me. And especially this one, I was so proud of this because I was trying to figure a way where I could get it to kind of hang just magically off the tips of the collar, because the collar goes down to a point and then this sits at the point. And I was just like, okay, how am I going to do this? And so I was speaking to Charlotte, aka Miss Twisted, and she suggested to me that I make a slightly removable section, and so that way, you know, I could wedge the fabric in between or have something that would go through it. And I thought, that's really cool. And then I thought, actually, what I could do is I could hollow out a section on both sides. So I put a little bit of dowel in there, have the string coming through there, and then that would encapsulate like, and then you glue it together, and then it's like encased, which is awesome. And I was like, yeah, that's so smart. And like, look how perfect I got it. I was so proud of myself that I was able to figure out how to do that. And yeah, they're too small. And then Troy was like, well, you also need to create little channels for the wire to go through. Otherwise, you know, it's gonna sit off-centered. I was like, damn, he's right. So I got very frustrated, and then Troy, being the genius that he is, he sat down with me and he showed me a new program, and it's called Onshape, I think. Let me just check that. Yes, it's Onshape. And what he did was he showed me how that works as a program, and he showed me 3 times because my little brain could not figure out first when he showed me what, like what, how, what. But he showed me how it was, and then he created the new donuts, and this is what they currently look like because I have primed them. So this is the big one, these are the small ones. Now you will notice that the small ones, they are glue tacked on there, that's why they're not falling off. But the small ones don't have a section cut out of it, and that's because Troy very cleverly said, why don't we just create little holes to go through the one section, the middle section of one of the whites, and then you have the matching holes underneath, and so you can just thread the thread through it and then go back up. Yeah, that would have been a lot easier in hindsight. So that is what we've done there, and I will give credit to Troy because I was running out of time. I'm not planning on entering this into a competition, and I said I cannot learn another program. Like, I want to learn Onshape because it seems like it worked for my brain now that Troy has explained it to me. But I was like, I just do not have the time with the timeline that I've got for this to figure this out. And he was like, well, I'll do it for you, it's no problem. Here's, you know, and I gave him the, you know, the measurements that I wanted them, and he did it in 5 minutes. Something that took me hours to do, he did it in 5 minutes. And as he suggested that to kind of keep the domes as smooth as possible, and so that when it comes to painting it's easier as well, we split them into 4, so we have like half of them blue and half of them white, and then we just glue them together. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Didn't think of it, did I? But yes, so I'm going to be working on these today as my first protocol. So I need to sand them down, check how they're looking. They're pretty smooth already, which is really, really good. There's only like a few places where the, you know, the print lines can be seen. So I'm gonna sand them down, have a look at them. If I need to do another coat of primer, I've got a little bit of primer left. Thank you again to Troy who gave me his last can. And then from there I will be spray painting them, and I'm not doing anything fancy with it. I simply have these 2 that I picked up from Bunnings. They're cheap, like goodness fiddly bits. I think it's an Aussie brand, and it is an enamel finish. So yeah, this says dark blue, which makes me a little bit concerned, but the cap is quite light. So we're gonna go with it, it's fine. So I think I'm gonna do this first today because it's a nice sunny day. And if I can get it spray painted out there and let it dry, then that just means that, you know, it's gonna be ready to go for the next part. And also just because I'm putting that off. All right, let's get out the sanding equipment, which is literally sandpaper because I'm not fancy. And then we'll see how we go. So it's a few hours later and I have sanded all of the pieces, and I have gone ahead and done sticky tape, or rather painter's tape, on each of the 2 ends because I don't want to cover that with paint because I want them to be able to glue together and not rip off with the paint. And I've also sanded them so they've got a bit of grit to them. Now, the other thing is that I've got the glue tack there, so they're ready to plonk down. What I've got here are the ones that are going to be blue. The ones that are outside currently drying are the whites, and I'm hoping that they're okay. I went a little heavy-handed with the spray can. I know I need to learn to stop doing that. So there are a few with like drips, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to hide them because they're mostly on the big one. So I'll be able to hide them in the back, but it's fine, we learn. So after lunch, because we're about to have lunch, I am going to try out the blue, and I am so concerned because of the fact that it says dark blue, but we're gonna give it a go. Worst comes to worst, I can always go back to Bunnings and try and find something that is a gloss that is a light blue. I mean, this cost me all of, I think, what was it, $5.50 or something, or $6.50 a can, so it's very, very cheap. And I will say that the white turns out really nice and gives me the exact kind of like sheen coverage that I'm after, so happy days there. But yes, wish me luck. I'll let you know how we go. Here are the boys now fully painted. The blue is quite dark. However, I don't think I'm going to change it because this blue is a really good match to what I've dyed the collar and also the clincher. So editing Curly here, and I realized that throughout this video and the last video about Donald Duck, I completely had a brain fart moment. I'm going to blame that I'm still not 100% better, and I keep saying kincher or clincher, when really the word is cincher. So I'm sorry, every time you hear me say kincher or clincher, I mean cincher. Please forgive me. So I think I'm going to keep them, and I'm quite happy with that. I think they look really quite lovely. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing them together. I'm going to do them in halves first, just so that it means that I can actually like control the lineup of at least half of the lines, and then from there what I'll do is after it's dry I'll glue them together finally, and I will have them, you know, looking lovely. But yeah, I think they look really good. This is without a gloss or anything, it's just what the cans were. You can see that some of the white, there is some drips. The blue actually turned out a lot better. Alright, I'm going to start gluing, and then I need to actually do the steaming of the collar. I've gone ahead and glued the boys so that they're half glued, and now I'm just going to let that set before I glue them together. Yay! Okay, let me get the steamer. Whoops, I burnt my table while I was ironing the collar. Whoopsies! Oh well. It should kind of go back to its normal colour, hopefully, eventually. But like, already I can see that some of like the varnish has come off. Oh well. This table really needs like just a full like sand back and revarnish, to be honest, with all of the damage that I've inflicted on it over the years. But that's okay. This is my crafting table. But I'm so happy because the collar is now ironed and it is without creases. That just makes me very, very happy. So now it's time to go ahead and do the gold trim. If you're wondering how I did this, I tried steaming it first, that did not do much. Then I tried doing an iron with steam in it, that didn't work much. So then I just wet the entire thing with a spray bottle and ironed it like that. And that's what caused the burning of the table. But it got all the wrinkles out. Happy days. I have been consulting my reference image in its wonderful A3 format to try and figure out how wide the bias binding needs to be that I'm going to have as the gold. And I'm going to have the gold running all the way down to the tips and then up just on the bottom half of the sailor's collar. Even though it's not shown on here, I just think that that will look really lovely. And I think that the width I'm going to make it is about 2 centimeters. And in terms of where I'm going to put it, I'm going to leave 1 centimeter for the seam. Oh my gosh, I'm still getting over bronchitis, and like honestly, I swear it's affecting my brain, and words are hard. I mean, they're always hard. You know this. But yes, so I think that what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 1 centimeter seam. Just to give me a little bit more space than what I thought I patterned it out as. It's only going to be minute, but I think it's going to make a big difference. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to set it in 1.5 centimeters and then put the bias binding of 2 centimeters in. I think that will look quite nice and quite balanced. I trialed doing a 2 centimeter kind of inset, and it looked too much, so I think I'll go 1.5. That will give me a little bit of space to work, and hopefully I can get this looking nice. So I need to go now and cut out about 4.5 meters of bias binding at 4 centimeters so that I can fold the edges in, and that will be my 2 centimeter bias binding. Wish me luck. It is a little bit later in the afternoon now. I am definitely working against the clock today, but I have the bias now complete. So I've cut it and then I have ironed it so that I've got these beautiful 2 centimeter wide long strips that will go and finish the edges of this. Now, what I need to do is, before I can put those on or pin them on, I need to sew up the back seam of at least the fashion layer, if you will, because of the fact that I want the gold to sit on top. I don't want it to be meeting in the seam. So I need to do that, and while I'm at it, I'll do the under one as well, the lining. Brain, seriously. But what I'm going to do is, although I'm going to do the seam in the back for the lining, I'm actually going to make sure that I keep the middle of that quite openly spaced, because I know I'm going to have to go back and unpick it so that I can finish off the boys when I'm putting them in. I figured that the only way that I can get the boys in is once the tails are essentially complete but not sewn onto the outfit yet. And the easiest way for me to do that, because of the fact that the front is this round circle and there's like only a point until it goes into the neck, the cleanest way that I'm going to be able to have access into the edges to put in those boys is going to be the underside of this back centerpiece that I will whip stitch by hand back up, because that's laying flush against my back. That is the one part in terms of seams that you are not going to see when I'm wearing this. Plus also, I'll have the wig over the top. But I want to make sure that it's as neat as possible. You know, we strive for the best that we can achieve. Sometimes we have to make do, but I will try this. I think this is going to be the best way that I can do this. But I definitely want the seam to be there for when I'm sewing it all up, so that everything kind of lays smooth, or as smooth as possible. That's just my thought process. It's a little bit scattered at the moment, but that's all good. So sewing up these first, and then I will start figuring out what angles to sew the gold together, because there's a point here and there's a point on either side where they will connect, and there will be a seam, and then I will be pinning it down and sewing it all down, and hopefully I will get it done tonight, this part tonight, and I will do the feathers tomorrow and the rest of it all. It's just, we have to go out for dinner, and I don't know what time I'm getting back home, so I'm going to try and do as much as possible in the next, let me just double check here, next half an hour or so. Okay, good evening. It is now 10:45, so nearly 11 o'clock at night, and I have finally finished sewing on the bias to this. There is some lumps and bumps just here, but I've given it an iron. It is what it is. It's not too noticeable, I don't think, unless you're up close and personal. So that is that. But before I turn it around, I also want to show you the boys. Look at them. Aren't they adorable? So that's the big one. And then here is the small one. I've got another one down there. And I love how these turned out. I just think that they are so adorable and look so swoosh. I mean, look at that. Look at that. And that will be a big red bow there. So that's super exciting that kind of all looks the way it's meant to. Obviously this is meant to be a lot lighter, the blue, but I still think it's cute. Let me show you the back. I'm just going to take that off because I don't want this to fall, because the E6000 glue is still curing. It is pretty solid, but I don't want to drop it on the floor for at least 24 hours. I mean, preferably ever, but you know. And then this is what the back looks like. Sorry, let me just, there you go. So that is the back. It took me far too long. The bias obviously stretched and I just did not account for that. So I sewed all of this side right down to here and it stretched so much that the point was out of whack. So I had to unpick all of that and I had to start from the center back down and then up and around and change the front a little bit as I went. That's probably why it like bubbled, but oh well, such is life. So yes, this will go on there like that. Isn't that adorable? Ah, it's really cute. That is my day. It doesn't look like I achieved a lot, but I mean, I was working pretty solidly except for the 2 hours that I went and had dinner. I just don't quite know where all of the time went. All the fiddly bits just take so much time. I am very tired and I am worried that my bronchitis is having another flare up. I don't know if that's a thing, but it definitely feels like that because I went out and it was cold and now I feel it in my throat and my back and my chest. So I really don't want to be sick again. I'm getting over this. Hopefully with a good night's sleep I'll be fine tomorrow and I can knock this out the park. So good night, I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. So today is the day I tackle the thing that I really have been putting off, and that is the feathers. So the very first thing I need to figure out is how many feathers I'm going to have on each shoulder. I think it's going to be about 7 because the front image sort of shows 4 coming down and like the biggest one is almost at the apex of the shoulders. So I'm thinking that I'm going to do the same that is shown on the front to the back, but what I need to do is I need to figure out how far they need to come from my shoulder because, you know, reference images versus real body, that can be different. And I think the key thing that I need to do here is I need to not overthink it, and I'm definitely overthinking it. So I'm going to figure out the measurements first and then I'm going to start making them as per the way that Miss Twisted, aka Charlotte, kind of shared with me in her video where she made feathers for dog costumes. I'll link it up top, down the bottom, all the good places. But let's start with measuring and do some maths. Here is attempt 1 for the feathers, and I like the width and I like this bottom one. I think that's about the right size, but these 3 look to be too small. So I think I'm going to extend this one out. It's currently 15 centimeters. I'm going to try 18 centimeters and then also kind of like, you know, make these longer as well. So round 2, let's go. Here is attempt number 2 and I am much happier with that. I think that that's about the right sizing that I'm wanting to do. I don't want to go too much larger than that, otherwise I'm worried that essentially I'm just going to be whacking into things with my feathers. So I think that that is what we're going to go with. But yeah, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and do this because if I keep questioning it, I will just talk myself out of this. And it needs to get done because today is Sunday and I need this done. I need this collar done today. Now that we've figured out the feathers, it is time to start cutting them out of the fabric. So what I have here is a remnant piece of fabric that I've had in my stash for quite some time. It is a shantung, and that is literally all I have. That little piece right there should be enough, definitely will be enough for the feathers. And I used this back when I made Mei Lin from Card Captors ages ago, before I even had a YouTube channel. I know there was a time before YouTube for me. So I'm going to use this. It's, you know, it is a polyester, it is not silk, but it has this really lovely kind of texture that will mimic the dress quite lovely and kind of has some nodules in it, so it looks quite organic. So, you know, good for feathers, hopefully. So the first thing I'm going to do is give this a bit of a press. I will need a bit of a straight edge because I will be putting wire through the feathers to create the spine of the feather, but also so that I can manipulate it so that the top feathers can kind of curl up slightly like the reference image, and the others as well, you know, graduating down. So that is my plan for that. I have my Heat and Bond no-sew, so like the really strong stuff. Let's just iron it and see what we come up with, shall we? I'm gonna be really honest, I am very nervous about this particular point. But I guess it's just a case that I just have to go in and do it. Get over myself, so to speak. But I think that one of the things that I'm most worried about is because this will essentially be a raw edge, and I'm, you know, everything within me being someone who sews is just like, oh, don't do a raw edge, that's wrong, it's so wrong. And I am assured that because this will be on the fabric, it's not going to fray. But I have purposely chosen the polyester fabric rather than the silk because of the fact that worst comes to worst, I can go along with a lighter and I can burn the edges, you know, I can melt the edges so that it won't fray. But okay, I just need to do it. Just do it, Kiralee. Ta-da! So here are the feathers. This took a lot longer than expected. I have 14 here, all are different sizes. Well, not all different sizes, but 4 different sizes. The wires are really stuck in place because of the fact that they are wedged in between the 2 pieces of fabric, both sides with the Heat and Bond glue. I, once again, go watch Miss Twisted's video to see how it's done. It was a journey. It was a journey. I can't imagine doing as many as she did, but I'm very happy that this part is now done. And I am going to stop here, have some lunch, and then come back, shape these feathers a little bit by cutting little pieces out. And then I need to decide if I am going to be colouring them with a little bit of blue down the bottom. I don't know. I really don't know. But I have kept very long kind of stems after, like, out of the bottom so that I can curl them in, cut off the excess so that I can use them as a way to sew them into the fabric by hand before I go in and sew it all down with my machine. So hopefully it will all be okay. I'm really hoping that this is going to work and they're not going to be super droopy, but they may also be, and that is concerning. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure what I'm going to do. I might actually extend them out a bit more and sew them in, and then have another section towards the end where I can sew it purely to the lining layer. That's probably going to be more secure. I think I'll do that. The other thing is that they are not fraying, so that is really good. The glue is definitely holding it all, you know, to itself. So that is a win. I am not going to have to burn the edges. Yay. I have decided to not do the blue kind of gradient dye with the spray just because time is against me and it is such a small light blue that I just figured, nah, it's fine. I think that also because I didn't do any of like the other kind of gradient dyes, like the sleeve is meant to be slightly blue, and like the falls from the hat, and like I think also the knee things, they're meant to be gradient, and I haven't done that. You know what, I'm just gonna do plain white. Just gonna do plain white. I'm sorry, Sunset Dragon, I'm not doing it. I'm just not doing it. I don't want to do any more gradient dyeing or spraying or anything like that. And just, I don't want to mess this up. I just don't want to mess this up because it means I'll have to redo this, and this took far too long. Okay, so now I'm just going to shape the feathers a little bit by cutting little notches in it. I'm gonna check Miss Twisted's video again just to see how many do. I think it's only like 2 or 3 from memory per feather, just to kind of give it that vibe. Then I'll figure out where I'm gonna place it. I'll probably curl this into a little circle that will probably come to about here, so that way when that's sewn in there, I can then go through and sew down the circle inside of the garment. So wish me luck. There's a whole lot of like, I hope this works at this point. Here are my feathers. I've curled up the wire so that I can use that as a kind of hooking to hand sew to the lining layer. But that's fine, it's fine. So now I need to basically figure out where they're going to go. I'll do one side, and then what I'll do is I'll take it off the dress form, replicate it, and then somehow kind of make it work. Wedge this in between the 2 layers, sew it, flip it over, and then hand sew down the circles. My brain is absolutely fried. This is where I'm up to. So I've sewn the outer layers. You can see the feathers are in their little hole and they are caught by the loops that I've created. So I do need to go in and hand sew that, and I will after I do the boys. So I'm going to attach the boys now, and going to do that with fishing wire. If anyone saw Chicago, you will see that I have a love-hate relationship with fishing wire because it let me down right at a critical moment on stage. But I am going to loop that through and hopefully create a knot right in the corners down here, and then that will hang like that. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'm going to go and hand sew these. After I've hand sewed in the feathers, I'll go through, unpick this line down the center back of the lining, and then I'll go through and do the top of that neckline, and then I will whip stitch that down, and then the collar is essentially done. I just need to attach it then to the dress. I'm not filming a whole lot because honestly this is really stressful for me because there's a lot of really finicky little pieces, and because of the dyeing process that I had on this piece of fabric, or these pieces of fabric, they didn't line up properly, and it's just been an absolute nightmare to try to make this work and look even on both sides. Yes, so sorry if there's not lots of footage of me doing stuff at the moment. It just kind of just want to focus. Ta-da! Look! The collar is on. Is it perfect? No, but it's on. And it's got feathers that I can put into whichever shape I want it to be in. And that is tacked on there. And then look at that! Oh, the camera is just too far forward. Just give me a second. Ta-da! The boys are on the edges. It looks so cute. I do need to let it hang and give it another good iron because it got quite crinkled while I was trying to put these on. They were a pain, just like the feathers. So now the last thing I need to do is to create the bow that goes on the front here. I have got my middle boy, and I have got the silk already kind of in the center of that. I don't know if the camera's picking that up. There you are, that's the back. It's very ugly, but I've used the same silk as what I've used throughout this and the cuffs, so that will match. And I just need to add a big red bow. That's it. That's it. So I will put the bow on. I will get that done tonight, so help me. And then the only other thing that I need to do, which I probably won't do tonight because I just want to be done and be like yay, is I do need to add some press studs to the top here to help the weight of this to stay on my shoulders rather than pulling from the front here. And I also still need to do a hook and eye at the top of the zip. So I'm keeping this free. I'm not sewing it down. I'm keeping it free so that I can get my head through there. But I will do that tomorrow night. And the wig Tuesday night. And then I will be done. That is the plan. That is the plan, Stan. That is the plan. Ta-da! And the front is now done. I have the boy with the bow. It's really cute. It's really fluffy. I used interfacing in the bow to like make it really like puffy. And how I've attached it is I've got 2 brooch clips basically just where the red bow starts, really close in the middle there, that I've been able to get a really good amount of the collar, and so I can take it off if need be, which is lovely. But it was really the only way that I could think of how I could attach it without sewing it on. I mean, I can sew it on, there'd be nothing stopping me, but I felt like this was a better choice just because with the boy, trying to sew it on so close would have been very fiddly, and I just was not for it. And it's really cute, so if I want to take it off and wear it normally, I can now. So with that, this is essentially done. I just have to do the press studs at the shoulders and the hook and eye at the back of the skirt, of the dress, sorry, and then she is wearable, which is just so exciting. But I won't show that on screen, and I'll probably do it tomorrow because it's boring stuff. Nobody wants to see me put that together. It's boring. So the last thing I need to do is the wig. Yay! I can see the end. The end is in sight. Good evening. I am so incredibly tired, but I have added the hook and eye to the back of the dress and the press studs on there. I didn't show that because it's boring stuff. I have also gone ahead and tried my first attempt at doing something that resembles this like wavy bang wig front fringe thing. Let me show you. This is what I've done so far. I've just got some very large velcro rollers, I can't speak, and I have sectioned the hair, rolled it up, and then steamed it. I'll let that kind of set overnight, perhaps. I don't know if this is going to work. I want to clarify, I'm not looking for any kind of advice in the comments. I am just testing out some things on this because that's how I like to learn. I like to do and see what the results are. So we'll come back tomorrow, see what this looks like. I don't hold much hope for this, but it's fine. It's fine. It's the next night. Let's take these out. Let's see what it looks like. Let's see if I can work with it. Okay, so the good news is that seems to work. The bad news is that it's like way too long. So I think I need to cut it and then maybe try this again. So, alright. Let's put it on my face, or rather my head, and then cut the fringe a little bit longer than it needs to be. That makes sense. Alright, let's do that. Okay, so next day, I'm going to take these out and we're going to see. They're cut, they've been steamed. Hopefully it's going to work. So here's what the wig looks like. I need to like brush it and like hairspray it. I think it looks really cute. It's not 100% perfect, but I think it looks super cute. I also need to make sure that I wear this with a wig grip and a cap because I've like just like put this on my head and it's already slipping off because of the weight of it all. I still need to do the side bits that have like the little curls, but I will do that either tonight or tomorrow. But the wig is almost done and I will spray it all tomorrow as well. I'm just gonna let this sit for a little bit, but yay! Round 3 with the curlers. But this time I'm using the slightly smaller curlers just because although I loved like the big bang, it was still just a little bit too big. So I'm going to try a slightly smaller curler so that way it curls in more. And then I've used the smallest Velcro curler that I've got and done the side. I tried to use my ironing one, but this wig melted. I did a little bit of a test piece on the end and the fibers basically melted even when I had it on the lowest setting of my curling one. So I'm keeping to steam because that seems to be working, and I'll take it out once it's all dry and see how it looks. And oh, I just hope that it's like good, because honestly this is the last thing. I just want it done. And the wig is done. I think I still need to steam the side curls a little bit and like let them droop a bit more. I'll keep her on their head for a little bit longer, and I think the fringe doing the smaller curl was a really good idea. It brought it up slightly further, and I just think it's so super cute. It's not perfect, and I am absolutely fine with that. I kind of like it like that, but I do need to give it a good hairspray as well, and I need to give it a really good comb. But like, that's the rest of it. She is so long and still so thick and so heavy. I've had her on my head for about 5 minutes and I can already feel the headache coming on. But yes, that is what it looks like with the hat. So now let's cut to the final reveal. Ta-da! Donald Duck is done! Woohoo! I am so happy with how this turned out. It is so ridiculously cute. I know I don't have my makeup on right now because honestly it's a Friday afternoon. I've been working full-time all week. I will show you pictures at the convention with my makeup fully on, but for now you've got my blank face, but this cosplay will hopefully make up for it. Look at this. I mean, look at the back. I don't know how much you can see because of my wig, but like, oh, I am absolutely in love with this. It is still very warm, but I'm about to go to Emerald City Comic Con. In fact, when this video goes live, I will be at Emerald City Comic Con. So it is going to be colder than it is in Perth summer, which I am very thankful for. What I absolutely adore about this cosplay is this bow. It's so stinking cute. Oh my goodness me. It's so big and fluffy, and like the little boy in the middle is just so cute. I'm so happy with how this turned out. The 3D prints are like, I'm just so happy with them, and I can't thank Troy from Play by Proxy enough, who like salvaged what I created and just like made it so much better. Like, I need to learn how to do this, but I'm so glad that I gave it a crack. Like, you only learn by trying and doing. So I saw what I did wrong. He then fixed it in front of me, so I know like what to do next time. The wig turned out pretty okay as well, considering wig styling is not my favorite thing, as you know, but I think it's really cute. I think the fringe is still a little bit haphazard, but I'm alright with that. I feel like these are like little like Regency curls or something. I don't know, I think they're really cute. I just feel cute in this, guys. Like, I feel warm, but I feel cute. Do I look cute? Give me a quack in the comments if I look cute and you made it to the end. Well done, you, and thank you. I don't know what that was. I tried to wink and then I ended up blinking. I don't know. I want to give a special thank you to the amazing Sunset Dragon for creating this design. I hope that I did it justice, Sunset Dragon. I love your designs. I always shall. I will be putting the printout that I have of Donald Duck up on my wall somewhere with red and toff so that I can go, yes, I did that. I also really love that it has pockets. Can we just, like, it has pockets and you can't even notice them. I love it. Is this going to be my favorite cosplay of 2025? Quite potentially. But hey, join me. See if I make something else in 2025 that I love even more. Alright, so I guess I better take this off and start packing, because at the time of recording this, I leave in like 48 hours. Con crunching from the other side of the world. Please make sure you like, subscribe, comment, all of that good stuff. I love it so much reading your comments. They make me so happy. know that. Please know that. I love it from the bottom of my heart. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!